Dr. David Klee has over 30 years experience as both a teacher of the flute and as a professional musician. He has performed in all kinds of musical organizations, ranging from classical orchestras to heading his own jazz group, the Jazz Express. With these Pro Minute video series, Dr. Klee will share some of his secrets with you on how to become a better flutist. Hello, my name is Dr. David Klee, and welcome to another Pro Minute. Today we're going to talk about the Grupetto, commonly known as a turn. Okay, coming up on your screen right now, this is a breakdown of a Grupetto. Basically, a Grupetto is a 4-note pattern played when you see a sideways S sign between two notes. And basically, if you take a look at it, what this first one talks about, these 4 notes, the first note of the turn is always above the target note, the second note is always back to the target note, the third note is always below the target note, the fourth note is always back to the target note. So anytime you see a Grupetto, you see that sign. Basically what you're doing there, you're going to put these 4 notes in there. Above the target note, back to the target note, below the target note, back to the target note. Alrighty now, let's take a look at my examples. This should be coming up on your screen right now. And look at example 1. Example 1, you see the turn sign, the Grupetto sign, in between, the first 2 notes. And so we know the first note is a G, so what does that mean about the turn? That means the notes are going to be A, G, F sharp, G. Why did I select those? Because the A is 1 note above G, the G is back to the target, the F sharp is 1 step below the target, and then the G is back to the target. This is how you interpret this to play a turn. Rhythmically, you try to make a flow in between. I'll throw out some examples I've been using over the years. So let me play at this time. I'll play the top example without the turn. Alrighty? Now I'm going to put the turn in. Alright, so now let's go to example 2 and take a look at that one. Example 2 goes from A to B, so the 4 notes are going to be what? B, A, G, A. B, A, G, A. That's what the 4 notes will be. And now here's something new. Whenever you have an accidental either above or below the sign, the Grupetto sign, that means you're going to add those accidentals to the turn. So how does that work? Well, if the accidentals are below the turn sign, below the Grupetto sign, that means the lowest note in the turn is to be played with that accidental. If the accidental is above the sign, above the Grupetto sign, that means the highest note in the turn is to be played with that added accidental. So in this case, it's a sharp. Well, we had B, A, G natural A, so the lowest note is a G, so I sharp it to a G sharp. So here we go, I'll play it as is, and then I'll add the accidental in the turn. Alrighty, now I'll put the turn in. Okay? Now let's go to example 3. Example 3, again, it goes from an F sharp to a G, so that means the turn will be G, F sharp, E, F sharp. Because you're starting the note above the target note, back to the target note, 1 step below the target note, back to the target note. And then we notice in the sign there below it, there's an accidental, which means what? It means we're going to sharp the lowest note of the turn, which in this case is an E sharp. So I'm going to play the example without the turn, and then I'll play it with. Now I'll play it with. Alrighty? Now, example 4 should look a lot like example 1. I'll play it without and with the turn. Now I'll play it with the turn. Okay? So this gives you an idea. on how this works. Again, you could have all kind of configurations and all kind of patterns how this works. Let's take a look at example 7. So if you look at example 7, you notice this time we have an accidental above the Grupetto sign. What does that mean? Do you remember? It means the highest note of the turn, we add that accidental to. Now in this case, the highest note will be an E, so we make it an E flat. I'll play with and without and with the turn. Okay? Now example 8, here's a real whammy. We have accidentals above and below the Grupetto sign. So what that's going to mean is the highest note, we're going to add that flat, and the lowest note, we're going to add that flat. So in this case, if the Grupetto is a D, C, B, C, that means the highest note D becomes a D flat, and the lowest note B becomes a B flat. Now here it is with. So hopefully this will help you some, and I look forward to the next time we get to meet like this, and this is Dr. David Klee. Until next time, bye-bye.